and see whether or not. But what's the time for the spot? Okay, so that would be great. So if well, let's see.
I don't trust it.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we are reconvening the public meeting. And I'm going to ask that we do each of you vote to certify that to the best of your knowledge, only public matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements, and that only such public business matters as we were identified in the motion by which the closed session was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. Ms. Firestone, can you please poll the members for the response?
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Hanover County, Vice Chair Peterson.
Aye.
Henrico County, Mr. Thornton.
Yes.
City of Richmond, Chair Stoney.
Aye.
Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes the roll call for the certification.
Now, is there a motion?
I can make that. Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I guess we're back in open. We are, I mean, I said that, right, but we are back in open session. So,
Mr. Chairman, I can make the motion. Mr. Chairman, move that the Finance Committee direct the Finance Working Group to interview the top 3 candidates per the RFP process for financial advisory services, and to return to this committee a recommendation of such financial advisor to be engaged by the CVTA no later than the November Finance Committee meeting. Covered?
yes, sir. There's a motion for Mr. Brown. Is there a second? I'll second. Mr. Peterson has seconded. Any discussion? Oh, we already discussed this already. Ms. Fires.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Hanover County, Vice Chair Peterson.
Aye.
Henrico County, Mr. Thornton.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Chair Stoney.
Aye.
And Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Thank you. That concludes the roll call for that item.
Okay, now moving on to the new business, item 8, the fiscal year 2021 financial audit. Do we have a report? Ms. Eater? Financial audit,
Yeah, I'll kick it over to
Ms. White.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I am pleased to be here with you this morning, Chair Stoney and the rest of the Finance Committee. I'd like to introduce to you PB Mayors. We have with us this morning, I believe in the room, Mike Garber. He's the engagement partner. He's out of the Harrisonburg office of PB Mayors. Tyler Farnsworth was the engagement manager on the audit. And so with that, I will turn it over to Mike to present the audit findings.
Thank you for that introduction, and good morning, everyone. It's been great to sit through this meeting and see everything that's going on and the progress that's being made, and those big decisions that are still coming. So glad to be able to hear everything you're all working on. I know that you received hopefully the packet ahead of time that has our required communication in it, as well as the financial statements. And I know that they're also included here in this packet. So I'll refer to page numbers that are numbered within your packet to make it easy if you want to follow along. So just beginning on page 13 of your packet is our required communication with this committee. We do this communication with all of our audits, and I'm sure your auditors do the same thing. It just has a brief overview of our firm that starts on page 16 of that. Talks a little bit about some other entities that we audit, a couple of which you've been talking about, CVTA and HR TAC as well, that do the same things that you all do. Just a brief summary of our resumes for myself and Tyler on page 17 and 18, and really moving into page 18 and 19 of your packet is really where we get into the required communication things that as the audit firm, we like to relay to you all. We can do this verbally, we can do this in writing. We always choose to memorialize it and have it in writing so everybody sees what has been communicated. We got along great throughout the audit. I want to thank the staff that helped us. It is a little unusual when you're kind of grabbing pieces from different folks, different areas, different localities, but everything worked well. It worked great. So we had no difficulties in performing our audit. We didn't have any difficulties in gathering information, documenting controls, and things of that nature. One thing I didn't put in here, but I think it's important to note, is we did do the audit remotely this year. So we weren't on site here at RVA or at any of the localities. So I always think, especially in these times, just to point out that we were remote in doing our auditing procedures. Even with the first year entity in our first year audit, we did not have any audit adjustments, which I think is great. We had some discussion on some year-end receivables and accruing a couple different months there. But other than that, there really wasn't discussions as far as any significant adjustments or things of that nature. Moving into the financial statements themselves, which in this packet begin on page 35 is where our opinion is. We were able to render an unmodified opinion on the financial statements, which is a clean opinion. It's the one you're looking for. And so that's fantastic news. It's a great start as we might think about heading into the bond market and things of that nature. It's good to have that clean opinion and some financials that are well put together. Following that is the management's discussion and analysis. Just a real quick overview of the year itself and the entity and the financial changes. Looking at the financial numbers, and I know we're 3.5 months into the next fiscal year and continue to build those reserves and those tax dollars. The only financial pages I guess I want to point out are page 45 and page 46 of the financials, or if you're documented toward page 9 and 10 of the financials. But you'll see your funds there. You have your general fund, which is where we track all of our administrative expenditures. Your local distribution fund, the regional revenue fund, and of course our GRTC fund. And the balances there, really the local distribution fund and the GRTC fund. The only thing here is receivables that we received after year end that should have been accrued back into those funds. And then you can see our investment balances there in the regional revenue fund as they are starting to grow. And then if we look on page 46 of the packet, which is your, I'll call it income statement. And you can see our sales and use tax, fuels tax revenue, what we received that first year, a little over $137 million in the first year of revenue. And of course, the local distribution and GRTC funds, those have all been passed along. And the funds in our regional fund is what we've been talking about and what we're looking forward to putting projects to and expensing those as we find those projects. The rest of the financial statements and the footnotes that support those numbers is really just some detail of the receivables from the state, our payables to our localities, and things of that nature. There's really nothing in here yet. I think that we need to go through in the footnotes. We don't have any debt or anything outstanding, and no VRS, no PEB. We don't have any employees yet, so we can skip all of those wonderful things. And finally, I'll wrap up. It's on page 58 and 59 of the packet is our internal control compliance report. And I'm happy to report that we did not have any findings or anything that we thought needed to come to this group and needed to be reported as far as internal control findings and things of that nature. So with that short report, a short financial statement, that's all I had prepared for you all this morning, but I know you'll have some questions for me, maybe some comments.
Any questions, comments from the committee?
This was a year-end balance as of June 30th.
June 30th, yes, sir.
And so total fund balance was 48 million. Is that right? Roughly.
Yes, sir. 48.4 million.
Lower than projections. Initially projected. Thank you.
that lower, or the 137, I think was what the projections were for the total.
Right,
This is
but
after
yeah,
distribution.
I'm talking about the 35, 35%.
5%. What did we project it on that?
I thought it was, well,
The
it was higher.
projections that you saw were for a 12-month revenue cycle. And so I think you have to factor in the fact that some of the revenues didn't start actually until October 1 of the fiscal year.
That's true.
And then also there is a lag from the receipt to the state to the distribution to the locality. So I think from the conversations that Debbie and I have had, that they're actually on par with the forecast. It's just more of a timing and a receipts issue for this first year getting started.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Ms. Peterson? Just one question. This audit does not include anything in the local jurisdictions, the distribution that has, once it's been distributed to the local jurisdictions, under their, you're out of it, right?
Yes, sir.
So, okay.
And then at that point, the jurisdiction.
Jurisdictions.
Yes, sir.
The only thing that may come up, if I may, I'm sorry, is the local jurisdictions then have to certify to the CVTA that they spent them in compliance with their statutory authorization. But I mean, I don't expect there would be a.
I'm just clarifying, that's not part of this, it has nothing to do with this.
Yes, sir.
Seeing no further questions. Do we have a motion to recommend the FY 2021 financial audit report to approval by the full authority? There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And it has been seconded by Mr. Brown. Ms. Firestone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Hanover County, Vice Chair Peterson.
Aye.
Henrico County, Mr. Thornton.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Chair Stoney.
Yes.
Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes the roll call for that
Thank you,
item.
Ms. Firestone. Thank you so much. Go Dukes. Staff has provided us with a few future meeting topics, and they will include in the future first FY 2021 operating budget amendments, number two, a FA interview and the financial advisory interview and selection, which we talked about a little bit today, but we're going to be getting some recommendations back in the future. Financial policy review and amendments, and also regional projects fund allocation as well. Now, item 10 is the CVTA Finance Committee member comments. Any comments from the committee? Seeing none. Item 11, our next meeting is November 10th, 2021. I look forward to seeing you all there. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.
You get to hit me at the go somewhere.
I'm trying to say something.
I couldn't get enough out of y'all.